A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a surprising turn of events, officials from the Trump administration have unveiled a comprehensive 28-point peace plan aimed at resolving the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. This proposal, which has sparked significant debate, requires Ukraine to make substantial concessions, including relinquishing control of the eastern Donbass region and Crimea, as well as committing to a non-NATO stance. The draft was made public by a Ukrainian opposition politician and has been confirmed by a White House official, marking a pivotal moment in diplomatic efforts to end the war. The plan is the latest iteration in a series of proposals, reflecting the evolving dynamics between Russian and Ukrainian officials, and is currently under negotiation as both sides engage in discussions to reach a consensus. European governments, while aware of the U.S. initiative, were reportedly not involved in its drafting, raising questions about the collaborative nature of the peace efforts. The plan follows recent high-level meetings between U.S. officials and representatives from both Russia and Ukraine, including a significant encounter between Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Kirill Dmitriev, a close advisor to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The plan was also shared with Rustem Umerov, a senior member of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's administration, who clarified that he did not endorse any points during the discussions. Following this, Zelensky met with U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll in Kiev, where they discussed the plan's provisions and agreed to continue negotiations. The White House has characterized these talks as productive, highlighting the urgency of finding a resolution to the conflict that has persisted for over 5 years. Central to the proposed plan is an immediate ceasefire contingent upon both parties agreeing to the terms. If accepted, the plan would allow Russia to retain control over significant portions of Ukrainian territory, including Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk, which have been under Russian occupation since the full-scale invasion began in February 2022. The proposal suggests that areas currently held by Ukraine and Donetsk would be ceded to Russia, but designated as a neutral buffer zone devoid of military presence. This aspect of the plan may prove contentious for Ukraine, given Zelensky's steadfast refusal to concede any territory or acknowledge Russian authority over Crimea. Another critical element of the proposal is the stipulation that Ukraine must limit its military size to 600,000 personnel, a significant reduction from its current strength of approximately 880,000. Additionally, the plan mandates that Ukraine amend its constitution to explicitly prohibit NATO membership, a reversal of its long-standing aspirations to join the alliance. This shift in policy is particularly noteworthy, given NATO's previous assurances of Ukraine's future membership. The plan further outlines that NATO will refrain from deploying troops to Ukraine, potentially undermining any post-war security arrangements involving allied forces on Ukrainian soil. Additionally, it includes provisions for Russia to commit to non-aggression towards neighboring countries and for NATO to halt its expansion, a point that aligns with Russia's long-standing grievances regarding the alliance's growth since the end of the Cold War. While the plan does affirm Ukraine's right to pursue European Union membership, it also emphasizes that NATO's open-door policy remains intact, leaving the door open for future discussions on Ukraine's integration into Europe. The proposal offers a security guarantee to Ukraine in the event of a renewed Russian invasion, which would entail a coordinated military response and reinstatement of sanctions against Russia. However, this guarantee would be voided if Ukraine were to initiate hostilities against Russia. The plan also calls for Ukraine to conduct elections within 100 days, following delays due to the ongoing conflict. Furthermore, it outlines a comprehensive recovery strategy for Ukraine, focusing on rebuilding its war-torn economy, with an estimated $200 billion in investments from frozen Russian assets and contributions from the US and Europe. The framework includes phased lifting of sanctions on Russia and the establishment of a joint investment fund to facilitate economic cooperation. Oversight of the plan would be managed by a peace council, chaired by President Trump, highlighting the administration's commitment to ensuring compliance and fostering dialogue between the involved parties. Other noteworthy components of the proposal include a renewed security dialogue between Russia and NATO, a non-aggression pact among Russia, Ukraine, and Europe, and the extension of U.S.-Russia arms control treaties. Additionally, The plan seeks the return of all civilian detainees taken during the conflict and calls for educational initiatives to combat racial prejudice. Finally, the proposal suggests reinstating Russia into the Group of 8, a move that would signify a significant shift in global diplomatic relations following its expulsion after the annexation of Crimea in 2014. As the Trump administration emphasizes, any agreement must provide robust security guarantees for Ukraine, Europe, and Russia, along with financial opportunities for Ukraine's recovery and Russia's reintegration into the global economy. The success of this ambitious peace plan remains uncertain, as both sides continue to navigate the complexities of the conflict and the implications of the proposed terms. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.